IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Bulletin, where we discuss the news and not news of the day. With me, as sometimes, is my friend and colleague Jishnu Guha.
Heyo.
How are you doing, Jishnu?
I am well. How are you?
You tell me you have news for me.
The Obi-Wan series that we are so excited for.
Yes.
Can you hear the excitement in my voice?
I can hear the excitement in my voice.
Well,
in my voice.
It's not happening anymore.
Why is that?
No, that's a lie. It's
Okay.
on pause.
Why?
They are having some issues with writing it. And so it is indefinitely on hold. All we know is the director, Deborah Chow from The Mandalorian, is still on board.
Oh, she is?
Very exciting.
Okay.
Yes, best show of the year. Our main man, Ewan McGregor, is still on board. Best news. Best Obi-Wan.
Of course he is.
So good. But the weirdness of it is that when the show was announced at D23 earlier last year, they said that the whole thing is done. The whole thing's been written. The whole series has been written.
Yeah.
Speculation now is that at the time, they had really only, even though Kathleen Kennedy said we were all set to go, they had only written 2 of 6.
She lied? Why would she say they'd written everything when they hadn't? That's an odd thing to brag about.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've written everything, man. Why? Who cares?
Maybe they only greenlit 2 with the 6.
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay,
But
okay.
the conjecture is that they had 6, and now they're debating bringing it down to 4.
Okay.
So it's a little all over the place. And the thing is that
She's got an issue with the story itself.
the story
I believe,
is
right?
what the writers are what's changing up. Which to me is not as alarming as losing your director or your main cast. Because I guess that being somebody that Deborah Chow being somebody that's already in the Star Wars universe with Mandalorian and killed it in the Mandalorian, she's in it for the long run, and she's tried and tested in this stuff. So if they know maybe where the overall arc is going, and they're just trying to figure out exactly how you want to go about weaving your way through that, I'm down for, take your time, figure out how to do that, right? I mean, I'm sure they knew when they pitched the idea to you, and they were like, he's going to do this, and then that, and then that, and going to get to this place. Great. I'm sure they must have known that when they were...
You think so?
I would imagine
I mean,
so.
possibly he signed on just because he was keen on playing Obi-Wan again.
No, I'm sure he must have been keen on it for a long time. Why wouldn't he be? But I mean, with regard to them saying this is actually a thing that we're doing now, and so much so that we're getting a team of thousands of people ready to do this. At that point, they got to know where the beginning, middle, and end are. If not, how exactly you get from the beginning to the middle to the end. And that seems to be where they're at this point.
Do you think
on
possibly,
indefinite hold to figure out the
and
details?
from what I read, this came directly from Kathleen Kennedy, right? I mean, of course, these are all, this is hearsay, but the sources that told whoever was reporting the story, I forget now, said that it was Kathleen Kennedy who said, hold on, I want to figure out the story very well first. Anyway, so I'm asking you if you think it's related to the backlash that Rise of Skywalker has received? Basically, she's now kind of second-guessing whatever they'd already decided to go ahead with and going well, if the fans hated that, I think we need to be really clear on what we're doing.
I would hope not, because a lot of the backlash with Rise of Skywalker was because of events beyond their control.
No.
I think
a lot of it was with the movie itself, wasn't it?
No, which was a reactionary move because of losing Carrie Fisher. You had to... my biggest beef with the movie was the fact that your ace in the hole was gone, so you have to write a movie that has clearly been set up for you to execute using Leia as one of the biggest pieces in your chessboard. And the fact that she was gone, they had to now make this movie work without that. It's not going to work.
They didn't.
And that's why they had to do so much moving around and jumping.
But I believe from most of the stuff I've read of people's reactions, they have a lot of issues with it beyond Carrie Fisher. In fact, I'd say that might be the least of the thing people have an issue with.
No. You're misunderstanding me. I'm saying that not having Carrie Fisher able to give you new character moves and dialogue, literally, it's a hindrance to your ability to execute the story that you wanted to tell. So the fact that they lost Carrie Fisher, they never could have done what they initially wanted to do. be it Trevorrow's movie or Abrams' movie. The writers had an idea. Episode 7 we lose Han. Episode 8 we lose Luke. Episode 9 who's left? Leia. And Leia gets a comeuppance, and she might have died in episode 9 for all we know, but she could have done something substantial, right? Which would have helped that movie greatly. And the fact that they lost Leia, they had to make the movie work somehow without her. And I think the whole crux of the Skywalker saga is built around, guess who? Skywalkers. And the fact that you've killed off one, the other one clearly has to shine. And the fact that they even gave her a moment where she's holding a lightsaber and be like, see, she's a Jedi too, and she's equally badass as Luke and all these people. That tells me that if she was around, she would have done some really cool shit, which would have made that movie work better.
But I still think the movie has issues beyond the fact that...
It does, of course.
I would say the issue is, when you say they couldn't tell the story they wanted to tell, I think the main problem a lot of people have with this movie, and in hindsight, I also think is quite clear, is that they weren't sure what story they were telling in the first place. They were kind of figuring it out as they went, and a lot of people...
I think that's because they lost Leia.
No, but they didn't have a plan for what to do with The Last Jedi or what to do with the final movie. I would like to believe
that... I mean, yes, you're right. 7 and 8 were made in disparate, two separate rooms completely.
Yeah.
But that being said, 8 was in reaction...
So was 9.
So was 9. Yeah. And we can have our own gripes about, is that a good idea in the first place? But 8 is jumping right off of what happens in 7. 9 is jumping off of what happens in 8. But I would imagine that when... well before 8 even comes out and people at Lucasfilm see the script for 8 and see, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're writing 9 now. They're writing it based on what happens in 8 with Leia as one of your main guys, if not the main guy.
Yeah.
And then when Carrie Fisher passes away and the studio tells you, no, you got to make this movie no matter what, then you're right. We can see them in the finished product kind of making it up as they go, because that's literally what happened.
And a lot of stuff they made up. So, for example, people have a huge issue with the entire Palpatine thing of it, the Palpatine of it all. And that's kind of the crux of what this movie relies on. So do you think they wouldn't have to go that route if Carrie Fisher had been around?
At least they wouldn't have had to go as hard on that. They wouldn't have had to be like, so hitting you over the head with it. Like subtlety could have come in, and you could have had... Just by virtue of having Leia around, there would have been some middle ground that you could meet and something to like ease that landing. Anyway, point is...
I feel like that is... anyway, get back to
answer your question, I would hope that it's not in reaction to Backlash in Episode 9.
Yeah.
And it's purely because they just want to get it right. Because I think they've seen how good
they had, right?
Like, they thought
Disney doesn't announce stuff unless they know exactly what's going to happen.
True. There's got to be something fishy about goings on.
I mean, my instant read on it, and of course I might be wrong, but it seems fairly logical to me that Kathleen Kennedy looks at how people are reacting to what happened with the last movie.
Absolutely.
And go like, okay, let's really think this through, because I don't want to mess it up again with possibly the biggest new Star Wars thing we're coming out with.
Right, which is why I'm fine. Like it's not that like, the movie is going to come out on this day and we don't have our main writers. That's horrible.
Yeah.
They haven't announced a release date. They haven't said anything. They're just saying, hey, it's happening. We're just going to take our time with it. We're going to take a little longer than we thought. But it's going to happen, which is fine. Like, take as long as you want. I'm so grateful that it's happening.
Do you think everyone else will wait around?
Everyone being the cast and director? Yeah, it's Star Wars. They're going to wait.
Well,
if they don't wait, they don't deserve to be on this damn thing. If you're given that job, you fucking wait. What? Who thinks they're so high and mighty that they're given the job of being in the new Obi-Wan thing, or like getting to direct it or do whatever, and they're like, oh, you mean to wait one more week? I'm not going to wait.
I don't know why you'd read it like that. I mean, they're obviously going to go ahead and do other work while they wait for this to get done.
Sure.
And then when they come back, who knows if they're still free? What if they get tied into something else? That's what happened with like Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah.
In Batman, for example.
Then
it's not like he didn't want to play Superman.
Right.
He was just like, well, now I'm screwed because I went ahead and did something else, and now you're coming back and telling me you need to do...
I don't care. You get the job for Star Wars, nothing comes above it. That's a you problem.
Jugs.
That's a them problem.
Okay, let me give you a situation, all right? You're signed on to play a brand new character in Star Wars, all right? But they say, hold on, we need you back for reshoots. It's a year and a half later at this point, okay? And they're like, oh my god, we forgot to shoot that main scene of you finding the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh sure, I'll turn up. When do you need me for reshoots? And they say, can you be here August 20th?
Yeah.
And that's my birthday.
Yeah.
Are you going to skip my birthday, Jishnu?
There will be other birthdays.
No, there won't. What if I die?
That's a you problem.
What?
Who told you to die?
You would ditch my birthday to go shoot Star Wars?
I'm sorry.
There can be other shoot days. You wouldn't even try. You wouldn't even go like, would you at
We
least...
thought the shoot days were done and then they called, so what am I going to do?
Would you at least say, oh, wait, what? Did he say August 28th? And they say, no, August 20th, 20. And you say, oh, I don't know if I can make that work. Can we do it like on another day? Would you at least ask that? Will you do me that courtesy?
I'll ask.
And if they say, I don't know, and they're not going to say, let me get back to you. They'll say, actually, I don't, like, really, 20th is most convenient for us, so if you could do it, what would you say?
Yes.
Oh my God. You would ditch my birthday, Jishnu. You know how much I care about my birthday. You know what a big to-do I make about it every year. And yet, you would ditch my birthday? This is all a lie.
Yes.
You're never going to be in Star Wars, and I don't care about my birthday.
Yes.
Well, you might be in Star Wars, there is that. And maybe I'll start caring about my birthday. Who knows?
Yes.
Anyway, I will give you a new piece of news.
Yes.
Development has officially started on Captain Marvel 2.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
That's not news.
So I had... Of course it's news.
Of course, yeah, they're making another movie.
They are making another movie. We
Great.
always expected it. What interested me...
Have they put a date on it? Have they put a year on it?
I believe
22?
it's 2022.
Okay, cool.
Now, it's supposed
that-
to be set in the present day. The previous one is,
Sure.
of course, set in the 90s.
I'm excited. I'm glad because...
My cue to you is, what
yes.
is the present day?
Huh?
What is the present day in the MCU? What year is it?
Whatever year it comes out, that's
If it
present
comes
day.
out 2022, is it 2027? Because they jumped ahead 5 years in the last one.
Oh, like
In the last one.
Wait, they jumped to 27?
They jumped 5 years ahead, right?
Oh, right.
So,
wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, wait, that's a great point. Hang on.
right, in Endgame...
Yes,
they-
wait, so Endgame takes place in the year 2027? Is that what you're saying?
No, not Endgame. Endgame would have taken place in... What did it come out, in 2019?
Yeah, so it took
Right,
place in
so in
2024,
2024, I suppose.
24.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that's a great point. Oh,
As would
Whoa.
Far From Home would also have been set in 2024. In fact, I think they might have literally said it or shown it at some point, right?
this is interesting. I didn't know about that.
In fact,
Well, I mean,
wasn't there
it's-
this whole
it's-
thing where the Far From Home trailers had this, like a shot of Peter's passport or something, and people were like, it says 2019, how come? And then it turns out that in the movie, they changed it for the trailer, and in the movie it says 2024, something like that. I don't remember the exact details,
Sure,
but
sure.
basically they are 5 years ahead of us.
This is amusing to nitpick at, but I think
But it's a weird
have,
problem they've
it's a
worked
weird
themselves
problem. Yeah,
into,
it's a weird
right?
problem. It's going to have no impact unless
They'll
they
be
try
on
to pull,
iPhone 16.
unless they try to pull a Back to the Future 2 and give Captain Marvel and all the people around her, like, automatic lace-up Nike shoes and
Right.
stuff like that. But that's not going to happen. It's going to be
It is
just
the
like
near
every
future.
other.
It's not like
Yeah.
the world will change significantly, but small details, like
Small
the
details.
iPhone 16.
But
With 16 cameras this time.
I'm mainly excited that they've ditched the previous directors of the first movie.
Who?
I forget. They're a pair,
Okay.
a guy and a girl, and
Right.
they're not coming back for the sequel.
A guy and a girl directed the first Captain Marvel?
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Oh, wait.
And as far
I
as I'm
didn't
aware,
remember that.
they're not bringing them back
And why are you glad about this?
because I thought the movie was a little meh.
Okay. I thought it was okay, yes.
But I mean, to be
I wouldn't
fair,
blame the
I thought-
directors for it
I thought it was
necessarily.
meh because everybody else in the MCU at the time had a much greater sense of urgency.
Sure.
All the characters, and just like it was an unfortunate position for her to be in for her introductory
Yeah.
movie. Like the stakes was so freaking high, and then in comes this woman 20 years ago, where we know where you're going. I was like, I don't care. Like I'm so much more intrigued by the other thing that's happening 20 years in the future from now. So hurry up and get to that point. And then she gets to the point, and then she leaves in Endgame. So I was like, okay, I know you're really cool and powerful, but I haven't seen you do that yet. I've only seen you be cool and powerful in Endgame for like a hot 10 seconds.
Yeah, she was pretty great in that.
Amazing, but it's all of 10 seconds. So I'm excited for her to now be on level ground with everybody.
Yeah.
And so now I can really let her... we can watch her do her thing.
And in theory, she should
Properly.
be one of the new leaders of this crop, right?
exactly.
Her and
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
yeah.
really. She is named after the studio.
Plus her boy, Fury, who now we know exactly why they're tight. So they can, like, as much fun as it was to see her and Fury in the first movie, it's going to be even more fun now because before it was funny to see Fury in an inferior position and sort of having to play catch up to her. The great thing about Jackson is that he's always the most charismatic and the most alpha guy in the room just by his presence.
Yeah.
And so he's finally back to himself, but he's in space now. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So they're equally, they're like the power dynamic is.
I suspect that is what will happen because it's also a neat way to avoid this 5 years ahead thing. Everything's in space.
Yeah, so time doesn't matter.
In space, no one can hear an iPhone scream.
Yeah.
So I suppose that is what they'll do. I still don't know why you have an issue with the directors because I thought it was like competently directed. It's really like the story of it that I thought kind of let down what Captain Marvel does.
I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? It was
I
sort of like...
don't need to be like so angry at a director, just know. You're like, I'm glad they're not back.
Because it felt a
This
little
new
safe.
side of you where you like ditch your best friend's birthdays and
It felt
like...
safe. It felt...
Yeah, but I wouldn't blame them for that. I feel like they did a fairly decent job with whatever they were given to do, and they weren't given to do much.
Fine, I'm not angry at the directors. I'm not coming for your birthday, though.
Why?
Because you start changing my opinions.
Because that's
if I go to your birthday, then what? Next thing I'll stop
you
watching
like
Full House
more
or what?
people. Well, it's not a good show, just now.
Then I'll start watching fucking Gossip Girl. Like a pleb. No.
Okay, fine. We'll discuss this off the
Do
air.
you watch Gossip Girl?
Well, it got done years ago, so no.
Yeah, Full House did too.
Oh, well, it came back. And Penn Badgley came back in the show You.
Who?
Gossip Girl. Will Gossip Girl come back, do you think? So, well, I'm going to spoil Gossip Girl for you, but the reveal at the end is... So you hear Kristen Bell's voice at the end of every episode go like, XOXO, Gossip Girl. And do you know the story of Gossip Girl? The concept of it?
Let me guess.
Okay.
It's a mother and daughter.
I think you're thinking Gilmore Girls. That's a different GG show. You literally are starting to describe the plot of Gilmore Girls. Gossip Girl is basically... So there's...
You can't see how red my face is on a podcast.
Yeah. There is this... how do I put it? Like a bunch of teenagers, basically, whose lives are being monitored by this gossip columnist who calls herself Gossip Girl. And her revelations in her blog...
Wait, so this is like Ask the Sexpert?
Kind of, yes.
But the Sexpert is the protagonist of our story?
Yes.
I should watch this show.
Well, not really the protagonist, more like the catalyst of the story, because you never see Gossip Girl. And a big part of it is Gossip Girl is obviously one of these main characters, but which one is she?
My whole life thinking Gossip Girl is Gilmore Girls.
Oh my god.
My entire life, whenever somebody says Gossip Girl, my head goes to those two faces.
To Rory and Lorelai?
Well, yeah, but if that's their names, then yes.
That's their names. Those are the...
Wow.
Okay. Alright, here's my plan. My birthday, you will cancel your Star Wars shoot and we will watch first Gilmore Girls because that's a great show and then Gossip Girl because that's a time pass show. How about that? Done. I will take your snickering as acceptance. See you later, you nerds. XOXO. Eeks.
How many times have you caught yourself Googling stuff on health and wondering if it's the right information? How many times have you heard different health experts give opposing views, which has only left you confused? There are rising cases of cancer, heart, diabetes, stress, and autoimmune diseases. Meet the patients and the experts who paved the path of true healing. Join me, Rachna Chachi, cancer nutrition coach and nutritional therapist on Heal and Hearty. I take you through my own journey of recovery from an incurable disease and the journey of so many others who healed only via nutrition and holistic healing. Find the answers you seek for what's good for your health and what's good for your soul. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. Don't forget your date with good health.
This is the amazing story of something awesome. Once, Chuck decided to start a podcast, and so he did. The end. Okay, that was a crappy story. But I've got some really cool stories over at my new show, The Origin of Things. On this podcast, I look at the stories of how brands came into being, and sometimes evolved out of quite unexpected circumstances. And to make it really fun, I reveal the name of the brand, and sometimes a category, only at the very end. The show is 5 to 7 minutes per episode and perfect for trivia junkies and brand nerds, especially those with short attention spans. New episodes out every Wednesday on IVM Podcasts app or website or any podcast app or site that you happen to prefer. End of story, they lived happily ever after.